Good morning, Southside.
This is Kara Shelley.
And Darian Richardson with your morning announcements. Race South wishes all Cardinals a happy Black History Month.
To celebrate, Race South Student Council held a Black History program to educate South on the significance and celebrate the occasion.
Performers include the Race South Jazz Band and Cardinal Chorale Choir. Underclassmen program is scheduled for February 26.
With many celebrations across South, we also are welcoming a new aquarium to the Kansas City Zoo.
Alexa Amarodian and Audrey Moore have the story.
So it's about 70,000 square feet, and it has 650,000 gallons of all salt water in there. We have 34 exhibits, a couple of which are terrestrial. We have cotton-top tamarins and toko toucans in there as terrestrial animals, kind of to accentuate one of the exhibits.
The Kansas City Zoo was founded in December of 1909 with only a few animals to see. The first expansion took place in 1912, and since then, many exhibits have expanded and been built. The Sabella Ocean Aquarium, being the most recent, opened on September 1st, 2023 to the public.
The remainder of them are all saltwater, and they range from really shallow water to the very depths of the ocean. We tried to give it the look as though you were entering in very shallow water and you work your way down through the deeper water until you get to the deepest water of the oceans, and then work your way back up through colder reef areas. What we tried to do is have a little mix of a lot of aquariums. So we spent a lot of time researching other aquariums and what worked well and what animals were fascinating. So we tried to bring what we thought was the coolest and best exhibits to Kansas City. Our octopus seemed to be a fan favorite, and our sea otters are cuddly and fluffy, and everybody loves marine mammals, so I would say that they're a fan favorite too. And as the director of the zoo, you try not to pick favorites, but one of the first animals that I ever worked with at the start of my career was the giant Pacific octopus. So they have certainly a sweet spot in my heart that I go back and think about all the animals that I've worked with, and they're just amazing animals. That they're an invertebrate, yet they're still so very intelligent. They're able to camouflage immediately, not only with the color of their body, but the texture of their body. They can squeeze through anything that their beak will fit through. They're incredible predators, so really neat stuff. And all of that wrapped into an invertebrate, which most people think of invertebrates as not being very intelligent, but the reality is they're about as smart as a dog is. They have a wide variety of things that they can eat, ranging from fish to clams, shellfish, shrimp, crabs. In the wild, they're very opportunistic hunters, and we try to vary up their diet as best we can here. If you have an aquarium at home, you know that algae is constantly growing, and doesn't matter how often you scrub it, it's going to come back and continue to be something that needs to be addressed. And when you're in a public aquarium, algae on the glass or the acrylic doesn't allow for very good viewing from our guests. So we definitely need to do that on a daily basis. As far as the smaller tanks go, those probably get cleaned the gravel gets cleaned, at least part of it, once a week. And then the bigger the tank that you have, the more often that you have to dive it, because you only clean sections at a time.
Ray South Winter Sports is starting to wrap up their seasons.
With the last home games of the season coming up this Friday in the Nest.
There's a girls varsity basketball conference game this Thursday at 7 p.m.
Then a boys basketball conference game this Friday, which is senior night for the Cardiff dance team, cheer, and boys basketball.
Come out and support your Cardinals in their last home games of the season.
In wrestling, girls districts was the past weekend. Zayla Van came away with a win in her weight division, sending her to state.
Along with Jayla Clark, who got 6th in her events at swim conference. Congrats to both athletes.
They really carved their marks in this season.
Speaking of carving, Ray South has a brand new unexpected ambassador. Let's send it to Century, Didi, and Anaya for more.
If you have driven down 83rd Street, you have seen the new addition to the neighborhood.
There really was no meaning behind the three birds. It was, like I said, it was a last-minute decision. But definitely, the idea came into my head to do the Cardinals because Raytown South was right here. And that big Cardinal display on the outside of the building, when I look out my front door, I see that Cardinal every day. And so, it was just a natural, hey, let's make it something for the high school. Sean Bratton. Well, I've lived in that house since 2019, and I had this giant tree, cottonwood tree out in the front, and I knew it was going to have to come down eventually, so I've been planning to make it into a Cardinal, something for the high school, since 2019, so it's been almost 4 years. I have step-grandkids in the school district. I kind of did it for them, and all the other students here that just gave me the idea for the Cardinal, since they were already going here. I decided, hey, why not make it a nice tribute to the whole high school. Jason started carving into the stump and realized it was all hollowed out from, just being a really old tree. And so Jason and I, that morning, yesterday on the 17th of January, Jason and I stood outside the tree stump, and we, just discussed an ad hoc plan to make it into 3 Cardinals, 1 big one and 2 smaller ones. And as you can see, it actually turned out better than I originally planned. At least until 2034. We don't know how long that's going to last out there. Obviously, we've treated the wood, we've painted it, and I'll continue to, touch it up and keep it painted, but we really don't know how long it's going to last with natural erosion. There's all different things that can be done. The tree stump, it wasn't just for me. I mean, it was for all the students and alumni. I've had so many people stop at the house, especially if I'm outside, make comments about the Cardinal. There's a lot of alumni that live around here.
With the end of winter sports comes spring sports, boys golf, track, girls soccer, and baseball all on the horizon.
If you're interested in participating, make sure you have a valid physical on file.
Hey, I'm so ready for track season, man.
Many Ray South athletes are already preparing for the season.
Ida Henson, a senior at South, has started preparing. Andre Castro and Casey Hayes has more on something you may not know about the track runner.
Kind of just live life. I don't really have a way about it.
Ider Hansen, a senior at Raytown South High School, has been playing sports for his entire life, such as track and soccer. But what you wouldn't know is that he's diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Ider plays sports such as
Soccer, cross country, track, and then an activity I do is marching band. Started playing soccer when I was 3, so it's been 14 years.
cross country is Ider's favorite sport.
It really clears my head. It strengthens my mental state by giving me the clear thought process, sort of clears my head of the unnecessary thoughts so I can focus on what needs to be done at that time. I don't really remember very much, but I can say that what changed mainly was the food consumption had changed majorly from what it was. It used to be lenient, it wasn't at the time. The only thing that I actually ever affected was soccer, because I had been playing it for so long. When I was growing up, playing soccer with diabetes, I played with my medical device on, and that has changed within the past 6 years.
Eider isn't the only soccer player who has this diagnosis. Professional soccer player Jordan Morris also has type 1 diabetes and was diagnosed at the age of 9. Eider was diagnosed at the age of 3, making Morris a large inspiration and pushing him to continue in sports. Eider tells us more.
Been playing soccer all his life and is a huge figure support in the upbringing of diabetic children and sports.
We ask him how it affects him academically.
If my blood glucose levels start to rise a lot, I can't focus. And if it starts to drop, I get so focused I can't actually get work done.
Eider plans on going into the construction industry after high school. This is Kara Shelley, Andrea Castro, and Casey Hayes for CardinalCast News.
Miss Hazel's chocolate sales have swept Southside.
With only 30 boxes left to sell, find a yearbook or electronic journalism student to support the electives.
Didi, are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Of course I am.
Well, let's send it over to Century Hall to see how South does with this week's trivia question. Hey Southside! This week's trivia question is, how many guest artists did Usher bring out during his halftime performance at Super Bowl 58? 2, 3, 4, or 5? During the 2024 halftime performance, Usher brought out 4 artists: Ludacris, Lil Jon, Alicia Keys, and her. Make sure to tune in next week with South's next trivia questions. This has been Century Hall for the CardinalCast News.
And the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl for the 2nd time in a row.
With the parade being scheduled for Valentine's Day, school has been canceled here in Raytown.
Ray South showed their support on Friday the 9th. JC Watkins gives us a recap.
Lesson learned for everybody else out there in the future?
Yeah, just know that the Kansas City Chiefs are never underdogs. Just know that.
Make sure to tune in next week for updates all across Southside.
Stay safe out there, Cardinals, please.
This has been Kara Shelley
and Darian Richardson with your CardinalCast News.